Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Rob. I'm 30-something living on Long Island, just trying to go about my days and my experiences and talking about them a little bit and things that are on my mind. And today it's the nature of connections. Connections, specifically in the dating world, have been interesting and to me evolving in certain ways where, to me, people don't realize that there's another human over the other line who they're talking to, and whether it's creating cultures of ghosting, really looking for the next best thing. People are always looking for the next best thing. And hell, I've been guilty of it. I've seen other people be guilty of it. And it's toxic, it's not great, and people just feel like they can drop the other person on a dime and feel no ramifications for, especially if they haven't met before, or even if they've met. It's something that I've followed along with for a long time now, something that I've been through with experiences before. And it's exhausting. The dating culture of today, especially as a single guy in New York, it can burn you out. It can definitely burn you out going on repeated first dates and going through the motions of here's my life story, here's what I'm looking for, giving other background about myself, asking the other questions to the woman or whoever you're talking to on the other line. It's tough. It's going through the motions, doing the same thing over and over again, and you get tired, you get exhausted from it. I'm sure I'm not the only person who's dealing with that. I know I'm not the only person who's dealing with that, whether whoever it may be. And it's just tiring. It's tiring, it's exhausting, and it's making me crave those making in-person connections rather than the less authentic dating apps, which have worked for people who I know. It's worked for so many people, and kudos to them. But over time, it's gotten more and more frustrating for me, where just going through the cycle of dates where you think are good that you just don't make that connection on the other end, whether it's me or the other one who might feel that way. It's a culture where it's tiring. As I said, it's tiring, and I crave those in-person connections. Maybe I'm just saying woe is me when I say it feels harder than ever to make those in-person connections when you're trying to approach someone. It's a slippery slope. It's really a slippery slope, the whole thing. And it feels like the hurdles are getting more difficult by the day. Maybe that's just my burnout speaking, but having to go from square one over and over and over again it's difficult. Like, I just went through a situation where I was on Hinge talking to a girl, and we hit it off quickly about nerdy stuff and travel experiences. And within a day, we got each other's number. And I asked her out for a drink. She said, "Yeah, sure, great." And she seemed excited over it. We continued our conversation over texting. Very short time later, I put out a day and a place to go for said date, and I got ghosted. I got ghosted just out of the blue, mid conversation, just boom, that's it. Now, of course, could have been talking to another person on her end, could have found another connection, or simply just wasn't interested. Either way, okay, sure, no problem. But to me, it's just the exhaustion of having to go back to square one. I think that's what's getting to me the most, is going back to square one, starting again, and having to reintroduce myself to someone, whether it's matching on Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, or having a in-person experience magically pop up, which I actually have an in-person experience popping up, that I'll go into. That's going to be also part of this video. It's just exhausting, especially when you feel like you're on the verge of making that connection or some kind of seeds of connection, even though it's so early on. And you also don't want to get so invested so early, because especially when you haven't even been on a date, or if you've only been on one or two dates, it's not worth getting invested so quickly and so soon. But there's also still a part of you that's just a natural thing where you just get tired. You get tired, and you just want to have something show promise and hope for making a relationship connection. And yeah, watching it burn out, it sucks. It frankly, on my end, to be vulnerable, it sucks. It sucks when it doesn't go well or it doesn't end right. And sometimes it's just out of your control, because maybe you didn't do anything wrong. Maybe there's stuff you could have worked on. Maybe you could have done something differently that could have changed the outcome. In this situation, conversation was just going fine, and it just ended on a dime. Ended on a dime. So that so when that happens, sometimes it's just it could easily be the other person. That's what I've learned over the years. Could easily just be the other person. You don't know what they're dealing with on their end either. Maybe a tragic situation happened for all you know. Maybe there's just something else that popped up in their life, or like I said, maybe they're just simply just not interested as you thought. That is what it is. It's stuff that I know I'm not just dealing with, but other people are dealing with, and I've spoken to other people about their experiences dealing with it. It's difficult, and I hoping for better days ahead with it, because some days are just frustrating, some days feel good, and other days also just feel like where's this heading? Where am I going to with this? As that LED light pops up behind me. And since this might come off a little negatively, just to add a little bit, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always a silver lining. There's always going to be someone out there for you in the dating world. There's always going to be someone there. And it's just a matter of when you find that person, where you find that person, and how you find that person. There's always something there, and there's always something to look forward to down the road. The transition, though, I'm doing an in-person event coming up. I'm adding on to the back half of this video. It's an event called 222 that's only located in LA and New York City, which is basically it's also an app, but it sets up curated in-person events where you go on basically group friend dates to dinner, and then or maybe an event of some sorts or an activity, and then usually onto a bar afterwards. The plans usually are different for each day that they have set up, different areas or different times of day. It's not always dinner and drinks. It could be ceramics, could be a run outside, or whatever it might be. But it's this really fun app, and this is not sponsored, by the way. It's a really fun app that I've done a couple times to have an experience of just making new friends, just meeting new people, to see who was out there, and using this as like the icebreaker to be able to talk to people at a bar, which usually, I mean, I know without an icebreaker, like I wouldn't be going up to random people to go talk to them, but I found that these 222 events, you can just go up to people, you could talk to them, because we're all there for the same reason, and people are open to speaking to each other, laughing, telling each other about themselves, and you never know where the night goes with it. And I found to have two really great experiences with it, where I made friends, added people on Instagram through it, talked to people separately offline, and it's cool. It's nice. I can say nothing but positive things about it, and doing it again, heading into New York City, into West Village, and now as of this point where I'm recording, I don't know where in West Village, because the gimmick with 222 is that you don't usually find out the place you're going until I think either 24 hours before or usually the day of, and you don't know who you're going to meet until you go to the restaurant, because you're all given a fake name for the reservation. So you give the fake name for the reservation, you get brought to the table, and then you see who's there already, or you watch as people come in. It's a really fascinating thing. It's unique, unlike anything I've done before, and it's a group blind friend date, and it's fun. I've had fun with it, like I said. Now my third experience for it, it's heading into West Village, seeing where I'm going to go, taking the train in from Long Island into the city, and yeah, seeing where the night goes. So let's dive in and let's see what kind of connections we can make for this, and I'll log how the experience goes. Well, here we are. It's 222 night, and we're almost getting ready to go out soon, and I found out a little while ago that I'm heading to a pizzeria, over in, again, West Village. It's a place I haven't been to before, and I'm going to meet 5 random strangers who I'm going to sit down with for dinner, and then head out to a bar with afterwards, with a group of about 30 to 40 or even 50 people who are also doing the 222 events that night too. It's a big gathering of people that goes afterwards, but this is more intimate, and this is also a singles-only dinner as they're billing it. We'll see. We'll see if that's actually going to be the case, because you can kind of just slot yourself as single or taken if you really want to. Yeah, we'll see. I'm pretty excited for this. I'm looking forward to meeting new people and see if I can forge any new connections, friendships, whatever else. First, though, we have to get ourselves ready to go and get our style for tonight, because style is important. Style I find to be very important. Something I've taken an interest in for a couple of years now, trying to upgrade how I look, trying to get a wardrobe together that I feel comfortable in, that works against my skin tone, and things that are stylish pieces that I could wear for years to come that aren't going to go out of style or hopefully fade out. So yeah, let's get this show on the road. Cold as hell outside tonight, so I am thinking of a wool quarter zip for tonight. A kind of a burgundy, I guess, if you want to call it, like a burgundy wine-ish kind of color. We have dark jeans, and then breaking out the boots for it as well to go along with it. I think it's a sharp, solid look. And then we have a white t-shirt to go underneath the quarter zip as well. I think it's a solid look. Hopefully it keeps me warm. And then I have a black jacket that I'm throwing on over this too. That's gonna hopefully keep me very warm, along with, I think I'm gonna say, a scarf as well. Better off keeping yourself warm when it's gonna be feeling like the teens outside in New York City tonight. So yeah, let's do this. All right, it's the day after. It is 2/22, the aftermath. Ooh. I decided to do this a day after because I got home late last night and I didn't want to hop on my camera when I was exhausted. I'd rather have a night to process everything from the night that it was, which was pretty damn cold walking outside when it was like, God, when it was like 15 degrees, it felt like at one point. But cold weather aside, it was good. I thought it was a good, productive night where I got to meet people who I wouldn't normally, again, talk to, I would think, or normally approach at a bar, or just people who just generally just wouldn't know or think you'd hang out with. But I found it really successful in talking to people and conversing with people, yeah, who are from the city, all parts of the city, or Brooklyn. Me being from Long Island, I'm kind of the outsider there, so it was cool to get to talk to people there, mingle, interact, and get to know them. My table was pretty solid, I'd say. There was me and another guy and then 4 women there. And kind of one side of the table kind of talked about their own thing, and the other side of the table kind of talked about their own thing a little bit, which was totally fine because other people will vibe differently with some people than others. Totally cool. And that's the nature of the game. You're not going to become best friends with every single person who you're hanging out with, especially strangers, because you're all pairing up with each other and you just don't know. You don't know how it's going to go. So I ended up talking a lot about, of all things, connecting on pro wrestling, which I've written about in the past, and video games and sports, which was fun because those are all things I'm very much interested in. And some of the people who I was sitting nearby at my table had pretty strong interest in that stuff, which was kind of cool. Talked about WrestleMania, talked about classic video games, classic video game consoles, games we're playing now, games that are coming out in the future. That was kind of fun and unexpected. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed getting to talk about things that interest me and yeah, and these things that also interested other people. It was cool. Talked a lot about the Buffalo Bills because someone at the table was a big Bills fan and they have a playoff game coming up. And talked a little bit about travel with some of the other people there, a little bit about healthcare because a handful of us have dealt with healthcare jobs in the past. because one of my jobs was doing public relations with some healthcare related companies. And overall, I thought everyone had a good vibe to them and they were cool. Well, I see everyone there again. Probably not everyone. I'd say some people, I connected better with others. I got a couple of people's contact information to talk with after the fact. And will I see those people again? Man, maybe so. But everyone at the table, probably not, I'd say. But which is totally fine. You don't always have to become, like I said, best friends with everyone who you're meeting with at these events. And granted, I clicked with my last table I did this with a little better, but still, I thought this was still a productive, good time, and had a really nice people. We ended up at a pizza place called Brunetti's over in the West Village. I had good pizza, and I didn't plan on getting pizza when I was going in there at first. I was like, oh, I just ordered pizza for myself a couple days ago. Do I really want to do this again? But when in Rome, right, you gotta go eat your food. You gotta go eat the food that they're specialized in. Because there was other options like pasta, chicken parm, but pizza was the call. I got a classic margarita pizza. It was solid. It was good. No complaints. It was a small little like personal pizza. And yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I'd go back there again if I end up in that area again. Yeah, why not? So the next place we went to was a bar called Bar Nena. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It was this intimate, like kind of underground, vibey, dimly lit bar that had like light Spanish music playing over the speakers there. It was like a 15-minute walk from the restaurant to the bar, which again, in the cold weather, not ideal, especially when you don't have a hat on, like I didn't have on last night, which, yeah, that's probably my mistake. But I and my group we were pretty cold. We kind of bucked it getting over there. But that aside, though, once you get to the bar, you get to meet up with other 222 groups who were out at restaurants earlier in the night. And you get a chance to talk with other people there. And it's like one big icebreaker, kind of, because you're at all the same place for the same thing. And you can go up to everyone and just talk. And you're there for the same reason. And it's not like at a bar on a regular night where, like, if you went up to someone's table or went up to a group of people, they'd be like, who the hell are you, man? So yeah, the vibes were a little intimate, dimly lit, and there was soft Spanish music playing, and they packed a lot of people in there. They packed 70 people, I think they said in the app, that were showing up there. That's probably about accurate, I'd say. 70-ish people in a pretty small space, but it was fine though. It wasn't too cramped, I'd say, and I was able to still maneuver my way around and go and talk to the people, go up to the bar when I wanted to get a drink without any issue or anything like that. So that wasn't too bad. I only had a couple of drinks. I had 2 beers, and maybe nothing too crazy. Other people were going pretty hard on margaritas or other mixed drinks I saw there. So hey, more power to you if that's what you want to do. But I decided not to do that and just keep it kind of chill and light, especially that at the bar. Like, I didn't make any super close friends I'd say that I'd go out and hang out with again. I had fun conversations with people talking about what they do, why they're there for these 222 events, because some people are there for the first time, second time, third time, saw someone there for the 10th time. So everyone's there for different reasons, or however many times they've shown up before. I guess I call them like veterans almost. And it was cool just meeting other people and seeing what they were about and all this different stuff. And some people were not even from New York, and hearing their stories about them moving to New York from Tennessee, California, wherever, Chicago. So that was cool. But I had good conversations, but no one who I really clicked with, no one who I really go out and do friendly things with. A first time thing they did for this that I hadn't seen previously was they did a color icebreaker, which is everyone got sent on their 222 app a specific color, and it would, I guess, you match up with people who have the same color as you when you go talk to them. I guess it's another way to break down that barrier of conversations. So I spent a lot of my night trying to find people who also had the purple color, and I didn't find many people with that until the very end. For some reason, there was a lot of blues and yellows and reds and whatever. Purple was a little hard to find, which is kind of funny. So someone who I befriended there spent a lot of his night trying to find other purple people for me to talk with, which was kind of funny. I found a lot of people left earlier in the night, which was kind of surprising compared to other times where people stayed out till midnight, 1 a.m., even last time was 2. So that was definitely a little surprising because I mean last time I did this I got back after 3 because it's an hour train ride home. But people who were at my table left within 20, 30 minutes of showing up at the bar, which, hey, maybe the bar wasn't their vibe, and that's no big deal, too. That happens. But it was little surprising, and I felt like the place definitely cleared out a little quickly, but there were people who definitely lingered there for a couple hours, kind of like me, just hanging out there, because I didn't have a rush to get home. But unlike other events, people were kind of getting a little down and dirty. Like, again, this was billed as a singles-only night, but there was a guy and a girl who I saw were dancing and making out, and other people getting kind of close with each other. I hadn't seen that in the other events I've been at. Maybe that's more prevalent than I know about, because since I've only been to a couple of these events, I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, okay, I guess these events are capable of doing that, which, hey, if that's what you want to do there, more power to you. Overall, a good night. I'd say these events tend to match me up with people better and better as they go on, because the first time I was there, I had a good table, but no one who I really felt too compatible with. But then the second and third times, I felt like I'm matching up with better people, and the app tells you that you'll be matched up with people more compatible with you each time that you go out and do this. So I'll do another event maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe something in February or whenever I just feel like that I'm looking for a night out again. Because I hadn't had a night out in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to have another night out with people who I know for probably another couple of weeks. So I figure something in between just to satisfy my palate, I guess, if you want to say. So this was fun to do. And it's definitely a little costly for me because I have to take the train in and spend a little over $20 each time just on the train ticket alone. Then there's the dinner, drinks. It definitely adds up over time throughout the night, especially if you're doing this kind of frequently. But this is my third time doing this, so if I do this sporadically enough, it doesn't hit the wallet too bad. I enjoy going to the city whenever I can, and I really don't mind the travel with it too. I just hop on the train, I put in my headphones, and I chill, I take a nap, hang out, look out the window for a bit. It's really not that bad to me. And then walking and then to the subway and taking the subway down, to me, that's no big deal. People were looking at me like, really? You're doing that? You're coming all the way out from Massapequa? Isn't the train ride kind of long? I'm like, yeah, but honestly, I don't mind it. I'm in the city enough as is to go hang out with people, so really not a big deal to me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this again, and yeah, this was to me was a fun way to make connections. It's definitely out of my comfort zone because I would never be like this, would want to go out and meeting strangers. To me, that it would always be kind of terrifying. It honestly still is kind of terrifying because I walked into this last night feeling kind of nervous a little bit, I guess. And maybe I tensed up a little bit initially when I was at the table there because I was just yeah, like I don't know, like kind of like had my shoulders down and had my hands a little folded, which isn't really an open kind of vibe to you. But like, I feel like once I had half a beer into me and started talking about similar interests with people, then things kind of opened up a little bit. And funny enough, no one even asked for each other's names until a little later on in the dinner too. So I guess maybe that kind of affected it a little bit too initially. But I settled in, I really enjoyed myself, and I really liked the night. It was fun. So yeah, I can't wait to do this again. I can't wait to make another video like this. And yeah, we're going to keep on doing these videos, and yeah, and hit that subscribe button too, especially if you're just stumbling upon this through your feed. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and yeah, we'll be back soon.